Maria Santos was polishing the same crystal glass for the third time when she heard the laughter, loud, cutting, coming from the conference room on the 15th floor. She knew that sound. It was the laugh executives made when someone beneath them screwed up. "Did you guys see the cleaning lady trying to use the executive elevator yesterday?" The voice belonged to Claudio, the CFO. "I had to explain that elevator isn't for, well, for that kind of people." More laughter. Maria squeezed the cleaning cloth, feeling water drip between her fingers. 5 years. 5 years cleaning these offices, and they still didn't know her name. To them, she was the cleaning lady, invisible, a ghost who removed dirt and disappeared. She thought about her daughter at home, Sophia, 9 years old, running a fever that hadn't broken in 3 days. The medicine cost more than her weekly wage, but she couldn't lose this job. She couldn't. "People like that will never understand our world," Claudio continued. "Born to serve, die serving. Natural order of things." Maria swallowed the lump in her throat and kept cleaning. Just one more day. Just one more humiliation. For Sophia. She didn't know that in less than 48 hours, these same men would be crying, begging for the strength they mocked in that moment, and that the cruelest boss of all would literally be on her back, depending on her to survive. The alarm went off at 3:47 in the morning. Maria didn't really need it. Her body already woke itself 5 minutes early every single day for 5 years. Like something inside her knew that being late wasn't an option. Not for people like her. She got up silently in the small room she shared with Sophia. The girl slept curled up, hugging her worn teddy bear. Maria touched her daughter's forehead. Still warm. The fever persisted. "Hang in there a little longer, sweetheart," she whispered. "Friday I get paid. Friday we'll buy the better medicine. 2 slices of bread with margarine. Reheated coffee from yesterday. 3-minute shower. Faded blue uniform she sewed herself when it tore." By 4:32, Maria was at the bus stop, the first of 3 she needed to catch to reach the business district. The commute took 2 hours. 2 hours staring out the window, watching the city wake up while she was already exhausted. 2 hours thinking about bills, rent overdue, electricity at the limit. The pharmacy that wouldn't give credit anymore. She arrived at the Mendes Corp building at 6:40, 20 minutes early, as always. The security guard, So João, was the only person who greeted her by name. "Good morning, Maria. Coffee's strong today." "Good morning, So João, thank you." She climbed the service stairwell, 15 floors. The main elevators were inappropriate for cleaning staff, according to the company manual. Maria climbed those steps every day with heavy carts of cleaning supplies, while executives glided in mirrored elevators to their offices. On the 15th floor began their territory: Persian rugs, expensive paintings, mahogany desks where layoffs were decided like choosing coffee or tea. Maria knew every inch of that space, every stain that needed removing, every glass that needed to shine, but they didn't know her. In 5 years, only 3 executives had asked her name, and of those 3, 2 forgot the next day. She was the woman who emptied trash cans full of lunch leftovers that cost more than her monthly groceries, who cleaned marble bathrooms while overhearing conversations about yachts and trips to Dubai, who removed coffee stains from carpets worth more than her entire house. "Hey, lady," the voice came from the hallway. A young executive, maybe 25, $3,000 suit. "Spilled water in my office, take care of it." "No, please." "No, thank you." Just an order, like she was an extension of the broom she carried. Maria went to his office, a small puddle near the desk. He stayed on the phone, laughing, while she knelt to dry the floor. Invisible again. When she finished and left, she heard him say on the phone, "Dude, it's amazing how some people don't mind spending their lives on their knees, cleaning other people's mess." She clenched her fists, took a deep breath, thought about Sophia burning with fever. About the medicine that cost 280 reais that she could only buy on Friday. Just 3 more days. Just 3 more days of being invisible, of being the cleaning lady, of swallowing humiliations like bitter pills. 3 days. She didn't know that in less than 3 hours, these same men would see what a woman on her knees was capable of, and that they would discover too late that strength isn't measured by diplomas or bank accounts. Ricardo Mendez was 52 years old and had an empire. Mendez Corp, 15 floors of glass and steel in the financial heart of the city, brought in $340 million a year. He built it from scratch, the business magazine said. Self-made man, visionary, ruthless. The truth, he inherited the company from his father at 28, multiplied profits by cutting costs, and costs meant people. In his first week as CEO, Ricardo fired 200 employees by email, a mass email sent at 11 p.m. on a Friday night. Necessary cuts for corporate sustainability. 200 families destroyed with one click. He didn't lose sleep over it. Numbers were numbers. Feelings were for the weak. In 20 years of command, Ricardo built a reputation. He had 40-year-old executives who trembled before meetings with him, secretaries who quit after 3 months, an employee turnover rate that was the highest in the sector, but he didn't care. There were always desperate people looking for jobs. If you can't handle pressure, the market isn't for you, he'd say in interviews, with that smile that never reached his eyes. Ricardo never worked hard in his life, never took a bus, never knew what it tasted like to choose between paying rent or buying food. Born with a silver spoon, studied in international schools, had a private driver since 16. But he liked to sell himself as a fighter. Talked about waking up early in interviews, omitting that waking up early meant 7 a.m. in 3,000 thread count Egyptian sheets. He had 3 ex-wives, 2 children who didn't speak to him, and a cardiologist who'd been warning for 2 years. Ricardo, your heart can't handle this stress level. You need to slow down. Ricardo ignored him. Strong men don't slow down. Strong men dominate. That Tuesday, November 14th, Ricardo arrived at the office at 8:15. There was a crucial meeting at 9. Japanese investors interested in buying 30% of the company for $200 million. It was the deal of the decade. He passed Maria in the hallway without seeing her. She was on her knees cleaning a coffee stain. To Ricardo, she didn't exist. She was part of the scenery, like the carpet or the decorative plants. At 8:47, he drank his 3rd espresso of the day, felt a slight tightness in his chest. Ignored it. Normal stress from a big deal. At 9:03, in the middle of the presentation to the Japanese, the pain increased. Ricardo masked it, continued talking about profit projections and market share. Executives around the table took notes, impressed. At 9:12, the lights flickered, once, twice, then went out completely, total blackout in the building. And it was in that moment, in absolute darkness, that Ricardo Mendez felt his chest explode in pain. He tried to scream, but no sound came out. Just a muffled moan as his body collapsed onto the conference table. The Japanese shouted. Executives ran searching for phone flashlights. Someone called emergency. A trembling voice on the phone. Ambulance, quick! 15th floor, Mendez Corp building. From the other end, sir, with the blackout, traffic is chaotic. We'll take at least 40 minutes. 40 minutes. Ricardo Mendez, the man who fired people by email, who never learned the cleaning lady's name, had 40 minutes before help arrived. On the 15th floor, with dead elevators and a failing heart. We need to get him down! Now! Claudio's voice, the CFO, echoed hysterically in the dark hallway. Ricardo was semi-conscious, breathing with difficulty, his hand clutching his chest. 6 executives around him, lighting with phone flashlights, and none knowing what to do. Someone carry him to ground level! Claudio shouted. Ambulance won't come up without an elevator! Silence. Heavy, awkward silence. I have a back problem, said Fernando, operations manager, 43 years old, gym 4 times a week. My knee is injured, Paolo lied, commercial director. I don't have the physical condition for this, Claudio admitted, looking at his own flabby body. One by one, the men who earned between 30 and 80,000 reais a month found excuses. The CEO was dying 2 meters away from them, and each had a reason not to help. That's when Maria appeared in the hallway. She'd heard the commotion, seen the flashlights moving frantically. She approached slowly, invisible as always, until she saw Ricardo lying on the floor. What happened? Her voice was low, almost a whisper. Claudio turned irritably. "None of your business. Get back to your work." But Maria saw Ricardo's eyes. He was conscious enough to be terrified. She'd seen that look before. In her mother, when the cancer was in its final stage. In her father, when the stroke happened. It was the look of someone who knows they're going to die. "Someone needs to take him to ground level," she said, firm this time. "You think we don't know that?" Claudio rolled his eyes. "We can't. He weighs 210 pounds. Maria looked at the 6 men. Healthy, well-fed, strong and cowards. Then she looked at Ricardo, the man who never knew her name, who cut food vouchers for janitors last year to optimize costs, who fired her colleague Joanna, who was pregnant, because pregnancy reduces productivity. It would be so easy to turn her back, return to cleaning, let the executives solve their own boss's problem, poetic justice even. Maria thought about Sophia, about the fever that wouldn't break, about the medicine she couldn't buy, thought about the job that supported them both. But she also thought about something else, something her father used to say before he died. "Maria, the day you become like the ones who hurt you, you lose what makes you strong." She took a deep breath. "I'll take him." Claudio gave a nervous laugh. "You? A 5'3" woman? Don't be ridiculous. I carried my father on my back when he had a stroke, carried cement bags when I helped him on construction sites, and I'm going to carry this man now." Maria knelt beside Ricardo, looked into his eyes. "You're going to need to cooperate. Hold on to my neck, tight." Ricardo, too weak to speak, just nodded, and that's how Maria Santos, 41 years old, invisible cleaning lady, prepared to carry on her back the weight of an empire that despised her. Maria positioned her back, bent her knees like her father taught her. "Keep your spine straight, Maria. Strength comes from the legs, not the back." His voice echoed in memory. Ricardo, with Claudio's help, climbed onto her back. The weight was immediate, brutal. 210 pounds of muscle, bone, and desperation. Maria felt her knees shake, her spine protest, every vertebra screaming against it. "You won't make it," Claudio whispered. "Not even to the next floor." Maria didn't respond, just took the first step, then the second. The executives lit the way with their phones, but none offered help. They stayed behind, watching, as if witnessing an experiment. The emergency stairwell was narrow, grey walls, rusted handrail, uneven steps. Maria held tight to the base of Ricardo's thighs, keeping him secure against her back. He was conscious. She felt his hot, irregular breathing against her neck. First step, second, third. Every movement was a negotiation with pain. Her muscles burned. Her left shoulder, which she'd injured last month carrying gallons of cleaning products, throbbed. But she continued. "For Sophia," she whispered softly. "For Sophia." Ricardo mumbled something. Numbers. He was delirious, talking about stocks, percentages, profit. Even dying, his brain was in executive mode. Maria felt a strange sadness. What kind of life was that? What kind of man dies thinking about money? She reached the landing between the 15th and 14th floors, stopped for 3 seconds, took a deep breath. Her legs trembled visibly now. Sweat ran down her face, burning her eyes. "You won't make it." Fernando's voice, the manager, came from above. He was descending too, but slowly, holding the handrail carefully, protecting his knee injury. Maria ignored him, resumed the descent. 14th floor, 22 steps per flight. She counted each one. It was the only way to keep her mind focused, to not think about the pain that was already unbearable. 1, 2, 3. Ricardo weighed more with each step. Like gravity was increasing, Maria felt something warm running into her right boot. Blood. A blister had burst. She didn't stop. 7, 8, 9. "Please don't drop me." Ricardo's voice was weak, childlike. He wasn't the CEO anymore, just a scared man. "I won't drop you," Maria answered through clenched teeth, and it was true. She didn't know why, but it was true. 15, 16, 17. She remembered Sophia in bed, burning with fever. Remembered the morning's humiliation, the laughter in the conference room. Remembered 5 years of being invisible. "Why am I doing this?" she thought. "Why am I saving a man who sees me as nothing?" But the answer didn't matter now. Her feet moved automatically. 20, 21, 22. She reached the 14th floor. Another landing, 3 more seconds of rest. That's when Ricardo opened his eyes fully for the first time. The light from the phones illuminated Maria's face. He saw the sweat, saw the pain, saw the determination. And for the first time in 5 years, Ricardo Mendes truly saw Maria Santos. He tried to speak. His lips moved. But before any sound came out, his eyes rolled back. His body became heavier. He'd passed out again. Maria adjusted the weight, felt sharp pain shoot from her spine to her neck. Looked down. Still 13 floors to go, 13 flights of stairs, 286 steps. She took a deep breath, thought of Sophia one more time, and took the next step. 1 step at a time. It was the only way to descend a mountain. Maria no longer knew where the pain ended and where determination began. The two had merged into one feeling. Her shoulders were pure fire. Every nerve in her spine transmitted emergency signals to her brain. But the brain had already shut down the complaints department. Now there was only focus. 1 step, breathe. Another step, breathe. Ricardo became semi-conscious again on the 12th step. She felt his fingers lightly squeeze her shirt. It was a strange gesture, almost childlike, like he was clinging to a life preserver. "Hold on," she whispered, not knowing if she was talking to him or herself. Behind her, the executives descended in silence now. The excuses were over. Only shame remained. They watched a 41-year-old woman who earned minimum wage and a half, carrying 210 pounds of CEO on her back, while they, with their degrees and gym muscles, descended empty-handed. Fernando tried to offer help on the 5th step. "I could, maybe, not now." Maria cut him off, sharp. She knew that if she stopped, if she redistributed the weight, she might not be able to continue. Her body was operating on autopilot. Any interruption could be fatal. On the 10th step, Ricardo whispered something. Maria didn't understand. He repeated it a little louder. "Sorry." She almost stumbled. It was so unexpected she almost lost her balance. A man who never apologized to anyone, who fired without remorse, who built an empire on coldness, was apologizing to a cleaning lady whose name he didn't even know. "Save your strength," Maria responded, but her voice came out softer this time. On the 15th step, her right foot slipped. She felt her body tilt backward, Ricardo's weight pulling down, gravity wanting revenge. For a fraction of a second, Maria saw the fall happen. Saw them both tumbling down the stairs, breaking bones, maybe dying right there. But instinct acts faster than fear. Her hand grabbed the handrail with superhuman force. Her arm muscles, already exhausted, found reserves she didn't know existed. She pulled herself back, stabilized the weight, recovered her balance. 3 seconds of near death, 3 seconds that felt like 3 hours. "My God," Claudio's voice trembled behind her. Even he had been frightened. Maria stopped at the landing, breathing heavily. Her hands shook uncontrollably now. She looked at them like they belonged to someone else. There was blood under her nails from gripping the handrail so hard. Ricardo had become fully conscious during the near fall. She felt him trembling against her back. It wasn't just physical weakness, it was pure fear. "You almost died saving me," he whispered, incredulous. Maria didn't respond. She had no energy for philosophy. She only had energy to descend 1 more floor, just 1 more. Then she'd think about the next. But before starting again, she looked at the badge on her uniform. "Maria, 5 years," it said in small letters. For the first time in 5 years, she felt that name meant something. "What can I do?" Ricardo asked, his voice breaking. "How can I help?" Stay quiet, breathe slowly, and don't die on my back, Maria answered, with exhaustion that went beyond physical. She resumed the descent to the 13th floor. 22 more steps, another small mountain in an impossible journey, and as she descended, Maria thought about something strange. She was literally carrying on her back the weight of a system that crushed her every day, a system that made her invisible, a system that considered people like her disposable. But in that moment, on that stairwell, the entire system depended on her. And she didn't know it yet, but this power reversal would change everything, not just for her, for everyone. The 13th floor was cursed. Maria decided this on the 3rd step, when her left knee gave out for the first time. It wasn't much, just a sudden weakness, a millisecond where her leg didn't respond. But it was enough for her entire body to sway. Ricardo felt it and grabbed tighter, which made the balance worse. "No, no, no!" Maria whispered, trying to stabilize herself. Everything happened in slow motion inside her head, the weight pulling backward, the handrail too far to reach, the concrete floor 12 stories below waiting, Sophia becoming an orphan, Ricardo dying because of her. She threw her body forward with brutal force. Her hip hit the handrail with an impact that knocked the air from her lungs, but it worked. The weight redistributed. Balance returned. For 3 seconds, nobody breathed. "Jesus Christ," Fernando whispered from behind. Even he, with all his cowardice, understood how close they'd come to disaster. Ricardo was hyperventilating now. She felt his chest rising and falling erratically against her back. "I don't want to die like this," he whispered. "I don't want to." "Then breathe, slowly, with me." Maria started breathing exaggeratedly loud, teaching the rhythm. In, hold, out. He obeyed. First time in his life, Ricardo Mendez obeyed someone he considered inferior. Maria waited 10 seconds, let her body recover from the scare, felt every muscle screaming to stop. But stopping wasn't an option. Ambulance wasn't coming up. Hospital wasn't coming to them. Either she got this man down, or he died. Simple as that. She started again, more carefully now, testing each step before putting her full weight on it. Her feet were numb with pain. She couldn't feel her toes anymore, just pressure and a diffuse pain coming from everywhere. Claudio and the other executives had reached the 13th floor by another stairwell. They stood on the landing, watching Maria descend. None offered real help. They just watched, like an audience at a show they didn't have the courage to enter. "This is inhumane," Paolo murmured. "We should do something." "Then do it," Claudio responded, bitter, but neither of them moved. Maria reached the 13th floor landing, 11 floors still ahead. She did the math mentally, 242 steps. Her knees wouldn't hold. She knew this with absolute certainty, but Sophia wouldn't hold either without medicine. And somehow, in the last 5 years of humiliation, Maria had learned to endure the unendurable. "How much left?" Ricardo asked, his voice weak. "Don't think about that. Think about each step, one at a time. How do you bear it?" Maria gave a bitter laugh, humorless. "I bear it every day, sir. You just didn't see it." Ricardo fell silent. But she felt something wet fall on her shoulder. Took a second to understand. It was a tear. The CEO was crying. "I never—" he began, but his voice failed. "Save your energy," Maria cut him off. This wasn't the time for epiphanies. It was time to survive. She looked down. The stairwell seemed infinite, a bottomless pit of grey steps and pain. For just one moment, Maria thought about giving up, about sitting there and waiting for help that might never come. But then she thought of her father. "The day you give up is the day they win, Maria." She gritted her teeth, adjusted Ricardo's weight on her back, and took the next step. One step, then another. It was the only way to descend a mountain when your body should have given up 3 floors ago. It was on the 12th floor that Ricardo tried to get down on his own. Maria was on the 10th step when she felt him move differently. It wasn't the dead weight from before. These were deliberate movements. "What are you doing?" she asked, alarmed. "I can't stand watching you suffer like this anymore. I'm going to try to walk." "You won't make it." "I have to try. This is wrong. All of this is wrong." Against all her instincts, Maria stopped. Let Ricardo climb down from her back, supporting him on the handrail. He stood for 3 seconds of dignity. Then he collapsed. His legs simply didn't work. He fell to his knees, hands gripping the handrail to keep from tumbling down the stairs. A groan of pain and frustration came from his throat. "I can't," he whispered. And there was something broken in that voice. It wasn't just physical weakness. It was something deeper. "I can't even walk by myself." Maria knelt beside him. For the first time their eyes were at the same level. She saw tears running down his face, saw shame, saw something she never imagined seeing in a man like Ricardo Mendez: humanity. "For 52 years I was strong," he whispered. "I commanded, I controlled, I never asked anyone for help. And now," his voice broke, "now I can't even walk downstairs by myself." Maria looked at this man. The same one who cut food vouchers, who fired by email, who never learned her name in 5 years. And she felt something strange. It wasn't pity. It wasn't anger. It was something more complex. "Sir," she said firmly, "strength isn't never needing help. Strength is accepting help when you need it." Ricardo looked at her, really looked, and for the first time he saw. He saw Maria's calloused hands, saw the worry lines around her eyes, saw the badge on her uniform. Maria, 5 years. 5 years. 5 years she'd been there, invisible, and he'd never noticed. "What's your name?" he asked, his voice breaking. "You're reading it right now." "Maria," he repeated it like testing the sound. "Maria." "That's right, Maria Santos, 41 years old. I have a 9-year-old daughter. I live in the working-class neighborhood. I take 3 buses to get here. And I've done this for 5 years. Each word was a gentle accusation, not angry, just factual. And somehow this hurt Ricardo more than any shouting would. "My mother," he suddenly whispered. "My mother was a cleaning lady." Maria stayed quiet. "When I was a kid, before my father made his fortune, my mother cleaned offices. I remember her coming home with bleeding feet, remember her crying in the shower, thinking I couldn't hear. And when my father got rich, the first thing he did was—" Ricardo stopped, his voice disappearing. "Was what?" "Was make her forget she'd been a cleaning lady, pretend that part never existed. And I learned. I learned that people like her, like you, I learned wrong." Silence on the stairs. Even the executives upstairs had stopped moving. Maria sighed. "Sir, we can talk about your mother when you're not dying. Now get back on my back." Ricardo looked at her, and something changed in his eyes. It wasn't gratitude. It was bigger. It was the kind of change that happens when someone sees the world differently for the first time. "I'm going to change everything," he whispered as he climbed back onto her back. "If I get out of here alive, I swear I'm going to change everything. Everyone says that when they're dying, sir. I'm not everyone. Not anymore." Maria didn't respond, just resumed the descent. But something had changed in her too. The weight on her back felt different now, not lighter, but different, like she was carrying not just a man, but the possibility of change. Maria reached ground level with Ricardo still alive. That alone was a miracle. The paramedics rushed in with the stretcher, lifted the weight off her back. She felt her legs give way, but Sir Juan, the guard, caught her before she fell. "Easy, Maria. You did it. You saved him." Ricardo was placed on the stretcher, connected to machines, rushed to the ambulance. But before getting in, he turned his head and looked at Maria. His lips formed one word: "Thank you." She just waved, too exhausted to respond. The ambulance sped away. The executive stood in the lobby, stunned. Claudio looked at Maria like he was seeing her for the first time. You did something incredible," he said. Maria grabbed her cleaning cart. "I did my job. Now I'm going to do the other one. You're not going to rest. Rest doesn't pay for sick daughter's medicine, sir." She climbed the service stairs, all 15 floors back up, with bleeding feet, destroyed spine, screaming muscles. But there was work to do. Floors to clean, bathrooms to wash, trash cans to empty. Because at the end of the day, Maria knew the truth. Heroes in the news get medals. Real-life heroes go back to work. 3 days later on Friday, Maria received her paycheck, bought Sophia's medicine. The fever finally broke. That night, for the first time in weeks, Maria slept knowing her daughter was okay. She didn't expect anything from the company, didn't expect recognition, promotion, or even an official thank you. People like her didn't expect anything. They just kept going. The following Monday, at 9:30, Maria was cleaning the 8th floor hallway when a security guard appeared. "Maria Santos?" She froze. Security guards never talked to her unless it was to scold. "Yes? You need to go to the CEO's office, now." Her heart sank. CEO's office. That was never good. She quickly thought about what she could have done wrong. Broke something? Left a room dirty? Why would they call her there? "Did I do something wrong?" she asked, her voice small. The guard didn't answer, just indicated the elevator. "You can use the executive one today." That was even stranger. Maria entered the mirrored elevator, seeing her own image reflected 1,000 times. Faded uniform, rough hands, scared expression. The elevator stopped on the 15th floor. The doors opened to the hallway she cleaned every day. But now it was different. Now she was being summoned. The CEO's secretary, Roberta, looked at her with an unreadable expression. "You can go in. They're waiting for you." "They? Plural?" Maria opened the mahogany door and froze. There was a huge table. Around it, 8 executives. Claudio, Fernando, Paolo. Others she recognized but didn't know the names of, all looking at her. In the center of the table, a white envelope. "Sit down, Maria," Claudio said, his tone formal. She sat on the edge of the chair as if ready to run, her eyes fixed on the envelope. Termination letters came in white envelopes. She'd seen colleagues receive them. "Maria," Claudio began, "we need to talk about what happened last week." She squeezed her hands in her lap. "I only did what I had to do, sir." "Yes, you did. And because of that," he pushed the envelope toward her, "the company decided." The door behind her opened. Maria turned. Ricardo Mendez entered the room, not on a stretcher, not being carried, walking, thinner, paler, but alive. And his gaze, when it met Maria's eyes, was completely different. "Maria," he said, his voice hoarse but firm, "we need to talk." Ricardo sat at the head of the table, not in his usual chair, but in one next to Maria. The executives exchanged confused looks. The CEO never sat beside anyone, always in the power position. "Maria," he began, his hands trembling slightly, "I spent the last 6 days in the hospital, 3 in the ICU. The doctors said if I'd been 5 minutes later, I wouldn't be here." She didn't know what to say, just nodded. "They showed me the security footage from the stairwell." Ricardo paused, his voice breaking. "Every time you almost fell, every time your body gave out and you kept going. And these men here," he gestured to the executives, "these strong, healthy men, descending empty-handed while you carried me." Claudio lowered his eyes. Fernando looked at the table, palpable shame in the air. "So I had time to think, time to rethink a lot of things." Ricardo opened a folder. "First, this envelope here." He pushed it to Maria. She opened it with trembling hands. Inside, a document. "Promotion to General Services Coordinator. Salary, 8,000 reais monthly. Complete health plan for you and your daughter. Premium food voucher." Maria read it 3 times. 8,000 reais, 3 times what she earned now. Health plan. Sophia could have real appointments, medicines without having to choose. "Sir, I don't know what to say." "Don't say anything yet." Ricardo opened another folder. "Because this is bigger." He spread documents on the table. Maria recognized logos, giant companies, TV networks, magazines. 6 media outlets want to do a story on you, the woman who saved the CEO. They want to call you a hero, turn this into an inspiring story of overcoming. Ricardo paused. "And I can make it happen. I can turn you into a celebrity. Interviews, speaking engagements, sponsorships. You could earn more in 3 months than you've earned in 5 years. Maria looked at the papers, saw photos of herself from security cameras. saw headlines already written. The cleaning lady who saved the billionaire. From the floor to the top, Maria's story. The executives were impressed. Claudio nodded, approving. It's an excellent offer, Maria. You deserve it, Ricardo continued. You can leave invisibility behind, show the world who you are, and I can help you with that. I owe you this. Silence in the room, everyone waiting for Maria to accept. It was obvious, it was perfect, it was fair. Maria looked at Ricardo, then at the executives, then at the documents on the table. For 10 seconds, nobody breathed. No, she said quietly. What? Ricardo blinked, confused. No, I don't want that. Claudio leaned forward. Maria, do you understand? It's 8,000 reais, health plan. You'll be famous, I understand perfectly, sir. Maria pushed the documents back. And I don't want it. Ricardo went pale. But why? You deserve recognition. You saved my life. I didn't save you to become famous. Maria stood up. For the first time, she was taller than everyone seated. I didn't save you for money. I saved you because it was the right thing to do. Then what do you want? Ricardo asked, genuinely lost. Maria took a deep breath. What she was about to say could cost her job, could end everything. But she'd carried 210 pounds for 15 floors. She'd stared death in the face and didn't blink. She could tell the truth. I want you to change this company for real. What do you mean? Every day I clean bathrooms worth more than my house. Every day I see food being thrown away that would feed my family for a week. Every day I'm invisible. Maria looked around. It's not just me. It's 200 cleaning, maintenance, security employees, people who make this company function and who you treat like ghosts. The executives started murmuring. Claudio looked shocked. Maria, you can't just let her speak, Ricardo cut in, firm. He looked at Maria. Continue. And Maria, for the first time in 5 years, said everything she'd never had the courage to say. You want to give me 8,000 reais, Maria continued, her voice firmer now. But Joanna, who worked here 6 years, was fired when she got pregnant. So Rogerio from night security is 62 and can't retire because his salary doesn't let him contribute properly to Social Security. Carla, from third-floor cleaning, works sick because she doesn't have health insurance. She put her hands on the table, looking each executive in the eyes. You want to make me an example. The cleaning lady who made it, the inspiring story. But what about the other 200? They stay invisible, keep earning wages that don't pay rent, keep being treated like they're not people. Maria, the company's economics don't allow, Claudio began. The economics allow you to earn 50, 60, 80,000 a month, Maria cut him off. The economics allow $300 per person lunches. The economics allow remodeling this floor every year with new marble. But it doesn't allow paying a decent wage to whoever cleans that marble. Ricardo was quiet, just listening, eyes fixed on Maria. Sir, Maria turned to him, you said I saved your life, and I did. But you know what I thought while carrying you? I thought, why me? Why does a 41-year-old woman with a destroyed spine, with bleeding feet, have to carry a man who never even looked at me? Maria, Ricardo tried to interrupt, and I found the answer on the 10th floor. The answer is, because I'm strong, not gym strong, not personal trainer and expensive supplements strong. Strong from carrying weight every day, strong from enduring humiliation and coming back the next day, strong from raising a daughter alone on minimum wage. She pointed to the executives, and these men here, with all their strength, couldn't do it. Because real strength doesn't come from muscle, it comes from necessity. It comes from getting up every day knowing you have no choice. It comes from being invisible and continuing to exist. The silence in the room was absolute. So no, Maria continued, I don't want a promotion just for me. I don't want to be the exception. I don't want to be the nice story you tell to feel better. I want real change. For everyone. What exactly do you want? Ricardo asked, and there was no anger in his voice. There was something more. Respect. I want fair wages for all base employees. I want health insurance for everyone, not just executives. I want real food vouchers, not charity. I want respect. I want you to learn the names of the people who make this company work." "Maria, that's impractical," Fernando began. "It's impractical," Maria agreed. "If you keep earning what you earn, if you keep having private drivers, expensive lunches, absurd bonuses, then it's impractical." Claudio turned red. "You're asking us to earn less." "I'm asking you to understand something." Maria looked at him. "I carried a 2 10-pound man for 15 floors. You couldn't, not because you're weak, but because you never had to be truly strong. And a company where only the top is strong while the base is breaking, that company won't hold." Ricardo stood up, walked to the window, stayed silent for 30 seconds. Everyone waited. Maria prepared to be fired. Then Ricardo turned, and when he spoke, his voice was different. "You're right." The executives exploded in simultaneous protests. "Ricardo, you can't. This is absurd. The board will never approve." Ricardo raised his hand. Immediate silence. He returned to the table, opened a drawer, and pulled out a different document. "Maria," he said, "I have a counter-proposal." Ricardo spread the document on the table. Everyone leaned in to read, even Maria, who expected a trap. "Complete Human Resources Policy Restructuring, Mendez Corp." The title in bold at the top. "I drafted this in the hospital," Ricardo said. "Between medications, between heart tests, I drafted this. Because you were right. About everything." He pointed to the first item. Item 1, immediate 40% salary increase for all base employees. Cleaning, maintenance, security, reception, everyone. Claudio choked. 40%? That'll cost millions. 3,200,000 a year, to be exact, Ricardo responded. "I did the math." "Where's that money coming from?" Paolo demanded. "From our bonuses." Ricardo looked at each executive. "Our board received 18 million in bonuses last year. We're cutting that in half. 9 million saved. 3 goes to the increase. The rest goes to the next items." Fernando turned red. "You can't decide this alone. I'm the CEO and principal shareholder. I can." Ricardo didn't look away. "And I will," he continued. Item 2, complete health insurance for all employees and direct dependents. Not that basic plan that doesn't cover anything. The same plan we have. That'll cost..." Claudio started calculating mentally. 2.5 million a year. "I know." Ricardo pointed to the document. "It's all calculated here." Maria read the document incredulous. Each item was exactly what she'd dreamed of, but never had the courage to ask for. Item 3, 500 raise monthly food voucher. Item 4, childcare assistance for employees with children under 6. Item 5, education program with full scholarships for employees and children. The executives were in shock. Claudio finally exploded. "Ricardo, this is financial suicide. The company won't survive." "The company survived paying me 4 million a year while Maria earned 22,000, Ricardo responded cold. "The company can handle this." He grabbed another paper. "I also did an analysis. Know what turnover costs? Training new people every month because nobody can stand working here? Labor lawsuits? Destroyed reputation?" Ricardo threw numbers on the table. "Last year, we spent 1,800,000 just on terminations, lawsuits, and recruitment. Know why? Because we treated people as disposable." He looked at Maria. "This woman has worked here 5 years. 5 years. Know how many executives lasted 5 years under my management? 3. All the others left or were fired. But Maria stayed. Know why?" Nobody answered. "Because she had no choice," Ricardo continued, his voice heavy. "Because people like her can't afford to give up. And I used that. We used that. We turned desperation into a business model." Heavy silence. "Not anymore." Ricardo grabbed a pen. "Maria, come here." She approached, uncertain. Ricardo signed the document in front of everyone. "This takes effect next Monday. All items. No negotiation." He looked at the executives. "And there's one more thing. He grabbed his phone, opened a video. It was from the security camera, showed the stairwell, showed Maria carrying Ricardo, and showed three executives filming with their phones, laughing quietly, commenting like it was entertainment. "Fernando, Paulo, Claudio," Ricardo said. "You're fired." The three went pale. "You can't," Claudio began. "I can, and I will. You had the opportunity to help. You chose to film. You chose to be entertained instead of acting." Ricardo pointed to the door. "Security will escort you out. You have 30 minutes to clear your desks." The three left, dazed. The room was left with half the people. Ricardo turned to Maria. "You didn't want a promotion, but I need one. I need someone who understands what it's really like to work at this company. Someone who hasn't forgotten where they came from." He extended the signed document. "You want real change? Then help make that change happen, not as coordinator, as director of human relations. Salary of 30,000 reais, with the mission of ensuring all this," he pointed to the document, "doesn't just stay on paper." Maria looked at the document, then at Ricardo, then at the remaining executives who watched her with a mixture of fear and respect. "I accept," she said, "but with one condition." "What?" "You learn the name of all 847 employees of this company. All of them." Ricardo extended his hand. "Deal." They shook hands. And in that moment, something changed in the air. It wasn't just a promotion, it was a silent revolution. 6 months later, Maria entered the office on the 15th floor, not by the service stairs, by the executive elevator, not in a faded blue uniform, in simple but dignified business attire. Her office had transparent glass. She insisted, "I want everyone to see me, enough invisibility." On the wall, a frame, the photo from the security camera of her carrying Ricardo, not as a trophy, as a reminder. "The day everything changed," said the small plaque underneath. Sophia was cured, completely. The doctors from the premium health plan discovered it wasn't just fever. It was an infection that, without proper treatment, could have killed her. But with treatment she was fine, back in school, smiling again. And more, she was in a private school, full scholarship from the company's educational program, dreamed of being a doctor now. Maria opened her laptop. Today's list: meeting with new hires, quarterly salary review, employee satisfaction analysis. Someone knocked on the door. It was Rogerio, the 62-year-old guard. Now with a salary that let him contribute to Social Security. He'd retire in 2 years, finally. "Ms. Maria, Mr. Ricardo is calling everyone to the auditorium." "Everyone?" "Everyone, even cleaning staff." Maria went down. The auditorium was packed, 847 employees. She recognized every face now. Carla, who no longer worked sick. Joanna, who was rehired with an official apology. So João from the entrance, now with complete dental coverage. Ricardo took the stage, 6 months thinner, somehow more human. He no longer had that tyrant look. He had something different, responsibility maybe. "I want to share numbers with you," he began, projected on screen. "Quarterly profit, 95 million. Murmurs in the audience. "It's 7% more than last quarter, and 12% more than the same period last year." Ricardo paused. "The experts said treating employees well would break the company, said paying fair wages would destroy our competitiveness." He smiled, a real smile this time. They were wrong. The screen changed, charts showing. Turnover fell 78%. Labor lawsuits dropped to 0. Productivity increased 34%. Customer satisfaction increased 28%. "Know why?" Ricardo asked. "Because people who are treated with dignity work better. People who aren't desperate, who aren't sick, who aren't choosing between rent and food. These people work better. And more than that, they care." He pointed to Maria. "This woman taught me a lesson the day she carried me for 15 floors. She taught me that a company is only as strong as its weakest link, and that when you strengthen the base, everything becomes stronger." Applause began. Maria felt her eyes burn. "That's why," Ricardo continued, "I'm announcing the profit-sharing program. 5% of quarterly profit will be divided among all employees, proportionally. Starting today, the auditorium exploded. 5% of 95 million was almost 5 million. Divided among 847 people, that was over 5,000 reais per person, as a bonus, on top of salary. Maria saw Carla crying, saw Rogerio smiling like a child, saw Sofia in the front row, brought especially to see this with wide eyes. After the meeting, Ricardo found Maria in the hallway. "I learned," he said simply. "Learned what?" "The 847 names," he smiled. "Took 3 months, but I learned them all. Want to test me?" Maria laughed. For the first time in years, a light laugh, weightless. "No need. I believe you." They stood there, looking out the window at the city below. Two people who shouldn't have anything in common, but who now shared something rare. Proof that people can change. And that systems can be broken when those at the bottom finally have a voice. Strength doesn't come from position or power. It comes from necessity, from resistance, from getting up when everything says to quit. Systems only change when those who suffer in them gain a voice to demand change, when the invisible become visible, when silence becomes words. And sometimes all a person needs to see differently is to carry the weight others carry every day. To descend 15 floors on the back of someone you ignored. To understand that real gratitude isn't giving recognition, it's changing structures. Maria didn't change one life. She changed 847, and it all started with one step.